Mahalo for beautiful people, welcome back to Coco Samurai, and I am back after a whole year of not uploading. Yes, a whole year. You're probably not expecting a high quality mic, or decent quality. It does the job anyway. Yeah, it's been a whole year since I've uploaded. Moved out of high school, tried to go into uni. It's like, nah, fuck that. Yeah, when it's a full-time work, and I decided to chase my dream of making music. That's why I have this beautiful mic now, since I picked up full-time work, and I decided, why not go back to one of my passion projects and work on this channel again. Now, since it has been a whole year, I had not checked it at all, and then going back like a couple nights ago and just checking the channel and just seeing all of that love on my first couple of videos, it was just amazing, and I want to thank you guys for that. Now, anyway, the topic at hand is, what if Deku had the sand fruit from One Piece? Oh wow, amazing. Okay, so without further ado, let's get it started. So, everyone knows how the intro of My Hero Academia is. Deku's just a little kid. We learn about how quirks come into action, all of that, blah blah blah. We learned that Deku's parents' quirks are to bring small objects and float them towards him. That's Deku's mom. And Deku's dad is to breathe fire. Now, back when everyone started manifesting their quirks, Deku was like the very last. So in this world, he did actually manifest the quirk, but it was part of that like 1% that just their whole quirk mutated and became something completely different from what his parents were. Now, because One Piece don't tend to hold back on the limitations of their powers, I mean, there are some limits, but like there aren't really drawbacks like the My Hero world has. Yeah, I decided to make my own, so if you hear anything that sounds weird to you, that's where that is from, and that's just me taking liberty with this to make it more accurate to the My Hero world. Now, anyway, where was I? Yes, Deku started manifesting his quirk, and before that, because he was the last one, Bakugo would still call him quirkless and just mock this kid for like not having a quirk when everyone else has one, and like Deku's just getting his hopes up over there, and like nah, you're not gonna get one, like that kind of thing. Anyway, Deku, like at first, like he's just like chilling in class, and like half of his arm just slowly turns to sand and starts freaking out everyone. But then they realize, oh shit, this is probably his quirk, but everyone's confused because his parents, that's not like at all what his parents have. And then they go to the doctor, and he finds out that he's part of that 1% whose quirks mutate, and he's got something completely different. So yeah, at this point he just thinks that he can turn his arms into sand, or his arm into sand, and he thought that was just what he could do. So Bakugo, when Deku was showing him this, thought, bro, this is weak as, because let's be honest, if you were gonna get a power, would you rather take the power of making shit explode, or like to control like grains of sand? Like, I know it sounds like it's like really demeaning to like his power, but like, yeah. So anyway, Bakugo thinks his quirks is weak, so he still bullies him in this universe. This time around, he's still bullying him. Deku, he starts training to become a pro hero, just like how he wants to, but because he has this quirk, he can actually train something instead of just reading up on heroes, even though he's still a hero nerd in this universe. Anyway, just while playing around trying to practice what he could do with his quirk, he learns that he could suck the moisture out of stuff just like by grabbing it with his right arm. And the way he found this out was he grabbed a small sapling, like a baby tree, just grabbed it and watched it wither away. Now, he was confused by this because at this point he thought all he could do was turn his arm into sand. And he was like, oh shit, if I could do this, maybe I could try on something bigger, see what happens. And he tried on a full tree, and then he realized he couldn't hack it. He just started feeling sick and starts throwing up, so he just learns he's not strong enough to do that yet. Now at this point, Deku can't produce that much sand. Like, he can turn the sand into sand, but he can't create that much sand yet. But he can, at that point, he just controls what he can, like what he can make, and he tries to control it as accurately as he can. And Deku gets pretty good at this, being a hero nerd and all that. Deku thinks at this point that he can't fully turn into sand, so he doesn't even he just thinks that, oh, my arm is like the most I can do. And then over summer camp, before he enters his last year in middle school, he realizes that he could turn more body parts than just his arm into sand. And Deku is still getting picked on by Bakugo during this whole training, since he manifested it to their last year of middle school, just because Bakugo keeps shitting on him that he has a weak quirk, and that he'll never make it into UA and all that stuff. And Deku starts to believe this because, he hasn't really had one of these massive power moments like Bakugo has when he starts blowing shit up and doing all that. But Deku is still determined to do what he can, use what he has to his utmost, and become the best hero that he can. Yeah, and one day we'll just, and this we move on to the last day of middle school, when the teacher asks who wants to be a hero, and was like, yeah, I do, whatever. And then they're like, who's, and then they're like, I heard 2 people are going to UA. The whole beef scene, that whole middle school beef scene where Bakugo blows up his temple and all that shit happens. Deku's still a bit of a pussy because he hasn't learned to weaponize his powers yet, his quirk. And then Deku just goes outside. He tells Bakugo in this universe that I'm gonna get you back. Even though you're doing all those things, I'm gonna fuck you up in the future. And then Bakugo just pretty much chin checks him. Just what are you gonna do? And then Deku runs out and just grabs his book. Now because he's upset about this, he tries to walk home, and he takes a shortcut. We all know what happens in that shortcut. Sludge villain jumps out of the ground and attacks Deku, but Deku, during his training, he learned how to make a small sand wall big enough to fill that area of the underground tunnel kind of thingy that you see in the anime. He learned how to make a wall that big enough, but because he isn't that strong, his sand is only as strong as he is. He built that wall, and the monsters ran, boom, destroyed the whole thing and ran through, and got a hold of Deku, and it just tries taking over his body. Now in this moment, Deku's fight or flight kicks in, and Deku is like, oh shit, what can I do? And then he remembers back to that sapling when he was a kid, and he tries to suck the moisture out of this monster. That sounds really wrong, but he almost succeeded. But then he starts to feel sick because this is a villain made of sludge, made of moisture. So it was just too much for him. But in the end, the villain was still he was still getting weakened by getting the moisture taken out of him, because everything made of water, you take that all away, it's just gonna be not good. Anyway, Deku's just starting to pass out, and just before he passes out, All Might shows up, saves the day, and everything canon happens. Finds out about All Might's real body. I mean, in this universe, he doesn't ask him about the can you be a hero with no quirk, because he does have a quirk. But he asks him, can you become a hero with a mediocre quirk? Which is a big prominent thing for him, because he's being told by all of these people that his quirk isn't strong enough to become a pro hero, to become All Might's level, and that's just what is on his mind. And All Might tells him, there's of course you can. And he was like, you know what, Shonen, show me your quirk, show me what you could do. and then Deku makes this small sound wall, or makes like a sandcastle, and All Might's like, you're better off working a normal job. And then Deku's like, fuck. He's upset. He thinks hard and he's upset about not being a hero. And in that moment, boom, loud explosion across from where the shopping district is. Now, almost like, that's when they realize that they dropped the bottle and they think that's what it was. Deku's like going home, realizes his body's taking him that way towards the thing just because of his instinct of just wanting to be a hero and all that. And then this is when we see the sludge villain making a return, pretty much raping Bakugo, just like how it was in the anime. Yeah, and then this is after seeing him, after Deku sees Bakugo doing all that, getting choked out, getting manhandled by this giant sludge villain. Deku's like, fuck, I gotta do something. And he jumps in. He like just rushes past everyone and he just books it towards this monster. And he throws the bag, hits the villain's eye. Because remember, at this point he hasn't weaponized this thing. He's just trying to like make stuff pretty much. So yeah, it hits him in the eye. Bakugo breathes, then gets pulled back in by the sludge villain, and the sludge villain uses Bakugo's quirk to swing like an explosive right into Deku's left side. And in that moment, without even thinking, without even remembering what the hell was going on, Deku's whole upper body turns into sand, and the hand of the sludge villain goes straight through him and just hits the right side wall and just takes out that building. Now Deku, right after it goes through his body, he materializes again and he's like, what the hell just happened? But he can't really just like sit there and be amazed with himself. He can't think, so he's just like, oh shit, I gotta do something. So then he starts to drain the villain of even more moisture, and makes him even more weaker, because he was still weak enough from the first time they did it. He was just like trying to put up a good fight against All Might, fucking got taken out like he always does. Anyway, that happens, and the villain is like, I'm not going down without a fight. And Deku, because he's still draining all of this like moisture, he just gets sick again and starts to get really dizzy and almost passes out again, or like, and he throws up on himself. And All Might, seeing all of this, he's like going through that I'm weak monologue, why am I not doing something? And then he jumps in, and then everything from canon happens. He grabs the boys, fucking throws an uppercut that changes the storm, whatever. And yeah, day is saved. All Might back again. But in this timeline, Deku gets both praised and scolded by the heroes around them, because they were surprised to see a kid with such a like unique quirk that he can't even be touched by this villain that everyone's getting like destroyed by. And like, they're like, well, you can be a real hero one day, kid, but like, you shouldn't put yourself in these dangerous situations, and you leave it to like an actual hero to use like got a license and all that. And Deku's like, oh, okay. Bakugo's still getting praised for whatever he was getting praised for in anime. I think it was like toughing it out or some shit. And Deku gets up to go home. He's surprised with himself. He thinks, I might actually have a shot at this. And then just a flashback goes in his mind, and he remembers what All Might said, and it just made him think, nah, I should probably just get a real job, make a real life, that kind of thing. And Deku starts to walk home. And just like Shonen, and just like canon, All Might shows up, offers him 1-4, tells him the whole history about it. And this was the big question: do I let him accept 1-for-all with the Sand fruit, knowing how powerful it will become? Because let's be honest, every time I see these people do these what ifs, they just give them all of the powers like straight away. They give it no room to like grow. I am making that happen in this timeline. Like, if I had just given him the Sand Fruit like full powers just from the very beginning, that sludge villain would have got fucked up like in the first go. But like that's what it is. So therefore, I decided Deku will take one for all, and this will make his like, it will take it far like even stronger than what one for all is now. Oh no, not one for all. What the Sand Fruit in One Piece is now. Adding one for all on top of that is just gonna make it way more stronger than it already is, and that's like a given. And yeah, I got some big plans for it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Love you guys, and fast forward.